Alright, you guys know who I am, if you even watch me at all. Um, I heard an interesting story from a person whom I call my friend today. Uh, I know this person is a liar or tells stories that seem very unlikely. Uh, that's because this person is what most people know as a drama queen. Today she told me a story that was such outright horse shit. I couldn't help but feel insulted that I had to listen to this absolute garbage. And hold up, I'll try and pull up the story for you. Alright, well, she didn't really give me an entire story, but basically, here's what happened. Sorry guys, I keep dropping my poker chips that I play with. She told me, no. On Facebook, yeah, we use Facebook, shut up. She said she was single. And it's not any of my business, but I simply asked if she was still going out with the dude she'd been going out with for about a year. Because, like last week, she claimed she was so madly in love with this person. And, while she commented no, when I talked to her in, like, a private chat, she said she still was, but she was afraid of her parents finding out. Fair enough. She has Asian parents that are very strict. When I asked her why doesn't she confront her parents and be honest with them and be straightforward with them and at least being honest with herself in the process, she told me this. And I'll give you a direct quote. Hold up, I gotta find it. It's somewhere in this pile of garbage text. Alright. Here's what I said first, and then I'll give you her response to it. You know what? Have enough guts to tell your parents to shut the fuck up. You know why? Sure, I've had my parents beat the fucking shit out of me for saying stuff like that, but for some reason, in the end, they end up knowing I'm right. And, God, stupid Facebook. La 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 la. Alright. Here was her response. Have you ever met Asian parents? Have you ever lived on your own? Have you ever been homeless? She's told me this garbage story so many times. That she once had to live on her own, that she was homeless, that her parents kicked her out of her house, that she was starving to death. While there are all children who end up in situations like that, I seriously doubt that her parents really kicked her out. I seriously doubt that her parents really treat her like shit like that. And I will admit, there are cases where parents do this. But it's very rare. And here's another thing. If she was so very close to death, she was starving to death, she has many friends at that school and many admirers who bow before her very feet, and she's too oblivious to realize it, that would gladly help her. And even though I really hate when people tell me stories like this, I would gladly help her. She goes to my school. She's decent when she's not lying. People aren't all douchebags. But nonetheless, she continued on with her stupid story, claiming that knowing she was starving to death, realized that she needed her parents' money and decided to go back home. Decided to go back to the people who had been treating her like garbage. It's like beaten wife syndrome, man. But here was her argument for that her grandmother was dying. Boo-hoo. If you have a family that is treating you so horribly, I think your grandmother would rather you be safe and happy than you visit her before she dies. She says that her grandmother was the person she was closest to. That's understandable. She says and this is another thing that bothered me. She says that her grandmother is the reason she wanted to become a teacher. Now, I realize a person can have multiple motives for doing something. But she's given me this story that she wants to become a teacher, which is fine. That's believable. What bothers me is how she always gives me a new reason and then claims like it's the only reason she wants to become a teacher. At first she said she wanted to become a teacher because she enjoys helping special children. Fine. She sent me a similar story that I can't really remember the details of her another reason she wanted to be a teacher, and acted like that was the only reason she wanted to be a teacher. Now she's acting like this is the only reason she wants to become a teacher. And that bothers me. It really does. And maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I'm feeding a troll or a drama queen. But for God's sakes, it's annoying as hell. I continue to tell her that if she decided to continue going back to her parents, even after being kicked out of the house by her parents, or even running away on multiple occasions, which is another thing that I believe to be total horseshit. What did I say? I told her she's a moron. If you're going to keep going back to people who are abusing you, instead of finding help, or talking to someone, or doing something, how smart can you really be? That you would willingly put yourself in harm's way for no good reason. No good reason at all. You either have to be the biggest and most terrible liar ever to think that you're going to get away with this when talking to me, or sincerely telling the truth and ultimately showing to me how stupid you are. How so very stupid you are. Stories like this, I don't pity. I don't pity this particular story, not because it isn't tragic and terrible, and yes, I realize I'm putting a poker chip in my eye. Not because it isn't tragic or terrible, but because, like I said, she's a moron. She continues going back to her parents, she continues getting herself abused and hurt, and she continues to whine about it, yet while doing nothing to stop it. I know this is a pussy way out, but if your parents are treating you like that, call social services. Do something. Make some attempt to take you and your siblings away from these obviously abusive or seriously mentally fucked up people. But she doesn't do any of this. She doesn't even mount legitimate reasons why not to. She claims she needs her parents' money, while she could easily get the same money and probably be taken better care of by parents of her friends or a foster family. I love people. I do. I hate people, but I love them. Hate them because of how often they lie and how stupid they are and how violent we are and things like that. But I love them because they're interesting. Aren't they? It's interesting to realize how stupid some people are. It's interesting to realize how violent some people are. And it's interesting to find out how stupid some people think you are. She's been giving me garbage stories like this for a long time. She's been giving other people these garbage stories as well. I feel bad for my friend who's dating him, or her. I feel bad for my friend who's dating her. I really do. I have to wonder how many lies he's been told. Poor bastard. And I've tried to tell him. I've tried to tell him on multiple occasions.